Ahead of his major fight with Manny Pacquiao, Keith, you better not duck me, Thun. One-time Thurman calls out MMA superstar Conor McGregor. I don't know what you're thinking. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. Now, they did a press conference in two cities, New York and LA, for Keith Thurman and Manny Pacquiao. TMZ caught up with Keith one-time Thurman. Link is in the description. In this interview with TMZ, Keith Thurman elected to call out Conor McGregor for a boxing match. As you guys see, it says Keith Thurman calls out Conor McGregor. Box me, baby. Right? And I'm not going to play it for copyright reasons, but, you know, we'll go over the article. It says if Conor McGregor wants another crack at a top flight boxer, Keith Thurman says he's all the way down. Telling the Irishman straight up, quote, box me, baby. Of course, Thurman, the WBA super welterweight champion, is gearing up to face Pacquiao July 20th, but he's heard about Conor's desire to get back in the ring and wants to fight. Quote, you know, you make more money in the boxing ring anyway. Box me, Conor. Thurman's not joking. He watched McGregor versus Mayweather back in 2017 and sees major holes in Conor's fight game. Quote, in boxing, the advantage is, do you have the skills with the left? Do you have the skills with the right? Do you have the footwork? And one thing Conor McGregor doesn't have is conditioning. He does not have conditioning. He is not ready for these championship fights. Floyd walked him down and beat him like he was playing fight night. Thurman continued, quote, he want to talk that trash. He wants to think he actually got hands. Come on, man. McGregor recently told Tony Robbins he wants a rematch with Floyd Mayweather because he's learned so much from the first fight and knows he can get a win. No response yet from Floyd, but Keith says once he gets through Manny Pacquiao, he's ready to make the McGregor fight a reality. Better not duck me, Thun. Now, in my opinion, this is a horrible look for Keith Thurman, and I'm going to explain why. To me, it's a horrible look because Keith Thurman has said some very, in my opinion at least, this is just my thoughts, off-putting stuff recently in regards to this major fight with Manny Pacquiao. He said some very interesting things, and it's made me kind of question his desire as a champion. Like, are you looking at this Pacquiao fight and you're happy because you got a major money fight? Or, you know, do you still have the hunger? He's talking the talk, but we've seen a superbly confident Keith Thurman who was badly hurt in his last fight with Jose Cito Lopez, a guy he was expected to, you know, walk down and stuff. And he's talking about a legend, like he's going to retire him and stuff. It's possible. Keith Thurman got skills. It's a good fight, you know, consolidation of the WBA belt. But, you know, it makes you wonder if he's just putting on a show or if he really believes everything. Freddie Roach said he's full of shit, you know, in a recent interview, things like that. But the reason it becomes a bad look is Terrence Crawford didn't like something that Keith Thurman said recently. And as a result, Terrence Crawford basically called him out. He says, you say you're not impressed by me. I'm not impressed by you and the way you fight. What's up? You know, and basically challenged him to a fight. And you don't hear Keith Thurman. He keeps taking shots at Terrence Crawford in terms of he ain't done this. He's a 140 pounder. He's in the big boy league now. Things are different. But you don't hear him like really challenging Crawford for a scrap. You know, you don't really hear him saying that. He's just basically telling you what Crawford hasn't done as a 47 pounder, even though the consensus from most fans is that, you know, Crawford's probably more in his prime than Thurman, and he's looking hard to beat. You know, people are thinking that him and Errol are the top 1A and 1B fighters. Whereas a couple years ago, it was Keith Thurman that they thought this about. You know, and I like to say this, I've said this on my channel before, Keith Thurman was the Errol Spence before Errol Spence. They don't fight alike, but what I mean is he was the guy with the, you know, that was in the glamour division, the guy with the menacing power, the guy that was kind of a boogeyman and people didn't want no work. He was outspoken, calling out the best, stuff like that. But over the years, it seems like Keith Thurman almost got complacent, So I don't really like this call out. Like, some people will be entertained. I'm not making the video from that perspective. I'm just giving my truest thoughts. First of all, Pacquiao is not someone you can even underestimate. So I don't even really want to hear about fighting an MMA fighter. But then the thing is, Thurman is, and I know sometimes maybe this was prompted by TMZ questioning or who knows, but I'm just saying I don't even like the call out at all. Let that man Conor McGregor do his thing and revenge the Nate Diaz trilogy or Khabib Nurmagomedov, something like that, Cowboy Cerrone. But the reason I don't like it outside of the Crawford thing is Errol Spence, of course. You have a guy in your division, ready-made, who's like every opportunity he's taking jabs at you because the world feels that you don't want to fight him, and you instead are calling out an MMA fighter who, as he breaks it down, he doesn't really seem like he values or respects Conor McGregor's boxing ability. He said, "Oh, he can't box. You don't have no conditioning, boy. It's not just about a left hand. What are you gonna do with your right? What about your footwork? And meanwhile, you have Errol Spence watching the Keith Thurman press conference on Showtime with Pacquiao, and he said, "Yo ass just gonna disappear if you win," crying emoji. So you got top flight, people, top shelf, Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford like on your line, and as a result, you're just you're more concerned with an MMA fighter whose boxing debut he already lost. And I get Conor's a showman and things like that, but he already lost. Floyd already tried it. Part of the Floyd first of all, is the personalities. Floyd, everybody knows him. Everybody knows, is becoming familiar with Conor's brand. So the two seized that opportunity. But these other guys aren't necessarily as big as Floyd Mayweather. Well, they're not necessarily, they aren't as big as Floyd Mayweather. So that doesn't mean you fighting Conor McGregor would be the same huge event, because Keith Thurman, even though Floyd had like a 2-year layoff, Keith Thurman had about a 3-year layoff. And before he left, his profile still wasn't as big as Floyd Mayweather, So that was it. Plus Mayweather McGregor, I went and covered that fight, But the thing is, that was also to satisfy curiosity. Some people like Skip Bayless and other people were really putting out this notion that Conor could beat Floyd. Fuck the Mayweather, he could really do it. But once we seen that he couldn't, and he got stopped by Floyd, who hadn't even really had any recent stoppages since maybe Victor Ortiz or Hatton, then people seen what it was. So I don't really think that the allure is there for people to fight Conor McGregor like it once was, because that curiosity has now been, we already got to watch how he was doing all this, training behind the back with his arms, and, people had this curiosity as to how he would be as a boxer, but we've already satisfied that fix, if you will, So I don't really like this call out from Keith Thurman when you got killers who, one's on your side, 2 guys want to rematch you, Sean Porter and Danny Garcia. Another one's looking like a killer who's on your side, looking like, even according to Bob Arum, who's not even affiliated with PBC, he's saying Errol Spence is the best welterweight on the PBC thing. So Keith Thurman's being like grazed over. He's going to need a big win with Pacquiao to try to claim some of that back, beating the legend. But I don't like this call out from Keith Thurman at all. You don't respect Conor's fight game, but you keep talking about fighting him. To me, that don't make sense. That don't make sense that you would rather fight him than a guy who's more rightful, that you probably should have fought by now, which is Errol Spence, or even a newcomer, like, a little bit harder to make with Top Rank, but still, it still be a fight people want to talk about. And see, here's the other reason I don't like it. Keith Thurman has been talking about retirement if he loses, and being a commentator, and he looks good in a suit. These aren't good signs. Like, couple years ago, I would have favored Thurman to beat Pacquiao handily when Pacquiao was with Top Rank. Keith Thurman also said that too. But things have changed, you know. Keith Thurman has been on the shelf, had the whole Derrick Rose thing. He looked good versus Garcia and Porter, but then he took a lot of time off and elbow spurs and surgery, and his get back year, he got all the way back and didn't compete in 2018, you know. So that was an extreme get back year. That was such a get back year. The motherfucker got back from competition totally. Like, he got all the way back. Rosa Parks all the way in the back. You know what I'm saying? And now you got this huge opportunity with Pacquiao. You're talking about an MMA fighter. Not everyone wants to be like Floyd, but it doesn't work the same way, you know. Because see, this is the thing. People often, I've said this, and if you ever hear anyone say this, know where it came from. Everybody wants to be Money Mayweather, but they don't want to be Pretty Boy Floyd. There was no Money Mayweather without regular Pretty Boy Floyd ushering that in. You know, everybody wants the Money Mayweather, you know, the G5, the Jets, and, you know, the jet setter Mayweather, money and record breaking numbers, and they want the lucrative stuff from the Money Mayweather stuff that, for, you know, 24/7s and pulling out backpacks with hella money, but they don't want to go through the Pretty Boy Floyd stages. Pretty Boy Floyd made Money Mayweather. That's what people forget. Keith Thurman, he's still on his journey. You still got to beat. Floyd already beat Pacquiao. You still got to beat him, you know, things like that. So you're still on your journey. So calling out Conor McGregor just because it worked for him don't mean it's going to work for you, because Floyd was already, you know, super established and things like that. So between more reasonable fights with Danny Garcia, Sean Porter rematches, or the ones that fans really want, Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford for Keith Thurman. He's talked about retirement, being a commentator, and, you know, these fighters are just kind of talking and emulating and acting like they're Floyd Mayweather. And that's what I don't, that makes me worried, to be honest, about Keith Thurman. It really makes me worried to see where his head's at, because I truly don't know. I truly don't know how much desire he has. It takes a lot to want to compete at a high level in boxing for years since you're a kid and stuff, and then maintain the discipline needed to win time and time again. So I don't like the call out from Conor McGregor. I don't like Keith Thurman talking about, if I lose, I might retire and be a commentator. I don't like Keith Thurman hearing him say, I'm not fighting a third time, and just ruling out and saying I need to rest. What was 2018 your get back year? How, if you need to rest, like what was that 3 years you were off? You feel what I'm saying? And he's talking about he can't fight 3 times a year. Maybe Errol Spence unification in 2020, maybe. But you could call out Conor McGregor. Not feeling it. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. If you're new, consider subscribing. We work.
So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.